giving you the reels from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Oh, yeah.
All participants are muted, and they can unmute themselves.
Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live, presented by Texas Family Fitness, Freeman Mazda Hyundai, and Worth the Poor. I am your host, Demarcus Lawrence. Will, if this is the case, Skywalker still. I think. Oh yeah, baby, y'all heard that name right? D-Law. We'll talk about that today on the show. Coming up, free agency kicked off with a bang. Real quick, can I do a shout out to Diamond Dallas Page? Bang! Kicked off with a bang, man. A lot of signings yesterday that we'll talk about. Not necessarily all Cowboys signings, but I kind of want to get into who I thought had a good day and who I thought had a weird day. Dallas, we know they're not active in free agency at the beginning of free agency, so no big deal there. But they did make a move that cleared some cap space, of course. But this is a good move. Don't be upset. Don't fret about this one. And then we'll discuss that and more. Plus, I've got 5 free agent wish lists. I got 5 free agents I want to talk about that I wish the Cowboys would sign. Not all at once, but one of them. Just give me one. We talked about that a lot over this offseason. Building on top of, right? And to do that in free agency, give me one. Am I being greedy to ask for just one of these guys? I'll talk about that, see what you guys think about with the wish list. And you guys can give me your wish list. You can call in to the show, 351-999-3787, 351-999-3787. Free agency is here. Hey, Jake said, Tom Downey said we signed Jake McQuaid. That's a beautiful ginger. Yeah, we signed him. I'm not really going to talk about him too much, but the Cowboys did get Jake McQuaid signed under contract, one year deal, 2-time Pro Bowler, long snapper. You need a long snapper, right? So it is what it is. Or as I say,
It is what it is.
it is what it is. Right? You needed that. But I wanted to talk about, before we get into the roundup, which is all Cowboys news, by the way, what I like so far in free agency and in regards to around the league. And we'll get to the Cowboys. And the team that I'm really loving right now in the offseason is the Chargers. I think they're making a point to get better under the rookie contract of Justin Herbert, who, by the way, one of my favorite young quarterbacks to watch in the league is Justin Herbert. So here are their moves so far. They traded for Khalil Mack. We talked about that, to pair with Bosa. They signed all-pro cornerback J.C. Jackson, and we know that they struggled with the run game last year, right? So they signed 2 run stuffers in defensive tackle Austin Johnson and Sebastian Joseph Day. So they got guys like Mac Bosa, Samuel Jr., Derwin James, right? A good core to build with, and they already have a pretty good offense bringing back Mike Williams. So I like what the Chargers are doing in free agency or in the offseason so far. So I got to give them a golf clap. On the other hand, did y'all see the contract that Christian Kirk got? Something like $84 million, up to at least over 4 years, which makes him the 3rd highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. Excuse me, what? I said on Twitter yesterday, Christian Kirk's agent is the GOAT. Whoever his agent is, I guarantee you, players will be flocking to that man. Woo! If your last name is Kirk or have any Kirk in it, first name Kirk Cousins, Christian Kirk, for whatever reason, your peoples get out on these teams out here in the NFL. So salute to Christian Kirk for getting the bag. Is he a top 20 wide receiver? No, not at all. But hey, it's not about that, right? It's can you get the bag when you hit free agency, when you hit the open market? And if your agent can do that, if you can do that, if you don't have an agent, more power to you. More power to you. All right, shout outs in order. Y'all in here early. We got Raheem Scott, Omar on Facebook, Miss Charlene, Adam Mack, Samuel Rowe, Danny Savage, AJ Torres, Lamont, what's up, man? James Simmons. We got Gregory in the building. Did I say Raheem already? Indeed, I did. Tom Donnie Burner account, Jason, Ted, Tino Santiago, Anthony Moore, Roger Smith, Russell B. What's up, Russ? Trip Aces. Sam is already listing his free agent list. Okay. Roger Smith, Tim Garcia, Mosey, Oscar Sullivan, B47, Vic. What's up, bro? Will Anthony, what's going on? Phil 2 Trill, TC915, Sunshine Janae, Mosey, Peter Rizzo, Chuck P, and then many more coming through. Appreciate you guys. What's going on? KHY 001. Eric Stinson, Trey Manning, was good. Was good. All right. So before we get into everything, let's just, I don't want anybody to come on here and get crazy, right? Like, we know the Cowboys are not going to participate at this early in free agency. Well, that's been the norm at least. So that's not a surprise. We're not going to get on here and get upset about that. But there are still a lot of free agents that I think will last over these next couple of days that I hope the Cowboys at least take a look at. And we'll talk about those free agents later. But first, let's hit this roundup.
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Yes, indeed. The morning roundup presented by Texas Family Fitness. Strive for progress, not perfection. Fitness goals are not accomplished with one workout. Progress towards your goals with Texas Family Fitness. Check out any of the 9 locations in the DFW area or hit up TexasFamilyFitness.com for more information. If you do sign up, let them know that Skywalker sent you and A to Z Sports Dallas sent you. First up, kind of forgotten a little bit here, was La'el Collins news from Friday, which is that the team is looking to trade him. However, sources close to the team, according to the Cowboys beat, this is what they said. Source said it's doubtful that the Cowboys can trade La'el Collins and a release is probable. But let's see what happens. Well, I mean, can we act like we're surprised here? I'm not. But I would say this. I'm still holding out hope that they can move La'el Collins in a trade. Like Watkins said, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I do know the longer I think they wait to move him, maybe that diminishes his return, or maybe that diminishes the possibility of moving him because teams are going to start allocating that money towards signing the free agents, right? Like, for instance, the Bengals. The Bengals did sign, I believe it was Alex Kappa, the offensive guard from the Bucks. So that's one guy that they're putting like $40 million towards that won't go towards La'el Collins. Now, they got plenty of needs and they got some money, so they can still trade for him. And La'el's contract is very friendly. You still got Denver, Miami's, the other teams that should be interested. So a lot of time for La'el Collins to get moved here. If he's not, look for the Cowboys to designate him as a June 1st cut because it makes no sense to do it as a pre-June 1st. You don't save any money. Designate him as a post-June 1st. I believe you get upwards of like $8 million. I could be wrong, but I think it's around there. Now, you can't use that money in free agency right now. Oh, but you don't need it. We'll talk about that here in a second. Randy Gregory. Here's the updates on Randy Gregory. He is scheduled to meet with the Denver Broncos, or maybe he's already met with the Denver Broncos. But per a few insiders, Pat Walker, number 1, says there's movement on on the Cowboys side for Randy Gregory. They have work to do to close at least somewhat a noticeable gap between theirs and others' offers, with legal tampering open, he's told. So Pat is all in on the Randy Gregory situation. He's plugged into all 32 teams. And he's stating at this moment, at least, I mean, that was yesterday, that there is a noticeable gap between the Cowboys offer and other teams' offers. We've been here before. Certain players, Amari Cooper, is taking less to come back to Dallas. So maybe that happens with Randy Gregory, but noticeable gap, I don't like that term right there. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Jordan Schultz, another NFL insider, says sources say Randy Gregory is a huge priority for the Cowboys right now. If he's not extended, it won't be for the lack of trying. Dallas believes it can retain him and is doing everything that they can to get the deal done. So RG is a priority, as is Gregory and Curse, according to Schultz. Now, it's worth noting that Gregory and Curse did scrub all his Cowboys pictures off his Instagram page. I really don't know what that means, Cowboys Nation, right? Like, that could mean nothing. That could mean something, but take that information and do with it as you may. Gregory and Curse should be a priority. We talked about that. I would prioritize him a little bit higher than most of our free agents, but we'll see. We'll see. It's not like the Cowboys don't have the cap space to bring him back. And why do they have that cap space, guy? Because Tank got a new deal. Demarcus Lawrence is sticking around, which the news broke Friday, and I'll get to that, my reaction from that Friday, that he would be here. But Demarcus Lawrence signed a new 3-year, $40 million deal with $30 million guaranteed. Let's remember, this is, and we'll get into the grades of this. D-Law had no more guarantees on his contract, right? None. So he could have got cut, went to the open market, had to go deal with that whole thing on the back end of his career in regards to moving and all that stuff. Instead, he signs a new deal with the Cowboys, and they get him at a very damn good price, in my opinion. With the new deal, it saves $13 million in said cap space. So when we play this today, in regards to this Demarcus Lawrence deal, it's not a negative today, Cowboys Nation. It's not a negative. Today, this is about Cap Boy getting what he covets most, and that is cap, but also keeping one of your best players on the team. This new deal, to me, we talked about here. Let me play this from Friday. When Ed Water had dropped the information that the Cowboys and Demarcus Lawrence were not parting ways on Friday, I was extremely happy about it. And I did say that I think a restructure would be on the way. However, it wasn't a restructure, it was a brand new deal. But check out Friday's clip from the Friday show about Demarcus Lawrence, if this is the case. Now, I think this does signify a potential restructure, right? Because they're not going to keep him on the books at $27 million, so he'll likely get restructured. But I wonder what that means for Randy Gregory. So I just had to get that out there for those who may have not seen this, for those who are blocked by Ed Water as well, for those who don't have Twitter, because this just dropped in the last 10 to 15 minutes or so. So this is brand new news. Apparently, Demarcus Lawrence is not going anywhere, according to a source told to Ed Water. Y'all know I'm happy. So I'm good. It's Feel Good Friday today. I mean, it ain't Feel Good Friday, but when you can get Demarcus Lawrence back on that, I'm cool with it. I love it. It's Feel Good. Now let me before I move forward and talk about grades and things like that, and get into more of the details. There's a sector of Cowboys fans in the chat here, and in general, that do not like this man. And most of it had to do with his pay. For those that don't like him, please come forward. I'm not trying to call you out. I do want to know how you feel. For those that do not like Demarcus Lawrence, and most of it was because he was getting paid all this money, how do you feel now about Demarcus Lawrence being here on one of the most team-friendly deals in the NFL, and still, in my opinion, being a highly productive player? How you feel for those that don't like Demarcus Lawrence? Just curious. Love Tank, love Gregory, love Micah. Yeah, this is more though for those who don't like him at all and said he was getting paid too much and all this stuff like that. For those that don't like him because of his money, does this make you feel better? It should make you feel better. Now here are the cap hits on Demarcus Lawrence. For 2022, $14 million for this year. So it went down from 27 to 14. Which saves you $13 more million, but it will go back up next year, I believe, to $26 million, somewhere around there. And then in 2024, back down to $16 million. So it's a very interesting structured deal. And according to Demarcus Lawrence's agent, he is the first defensive player to ever have 7 straight years of his contract guaranteed. 7 straight years. So with that said, what grade would you give the new Demarcus Lawrence deal? What grade would you give the new Demarcus Lawrence deal? And while you guys do that in the chat, I want to talk about this week's ride of the week, Freeman Mazda ride of the week, which is a brand new 2022 Mazda CX-50. Hasn't even hit the lot yet. This is early stuff here. Enjoy connection to the road even when there isn't one with our newest iActive technology, a standard feature on all trims of the CX-50. It's also equipped with Mazda Intelligent Drive Select technology that includes drive modes which enhance off-road and sport driving. Turbo models also include a mode designed to support towing so you can stay effortlessly immersed in the moment in almost every driving scenario on the road or the road conditions. Check out freemanmazda.net for more information on this week's Freeman Mazda Ride of the Week, which is the 2022 Mazda CX-50. We got some super chats in the building. Let me go over here to the super chats real quick. Appreciate all these. All right.
Super chat.
All right, we got David J. Appreciate you for the $10 donation. He says, I think cutting Collins is a good plan. He missed a bunch of games last year because of drug tests and still did a good job in place. Wouldn't a good plan be to trade him, though? I mean, you cut him, at least designate him June 1st so you get the $8 million. I just keep him and move him to guard or something like that, or keep the depth. But if they want more cap, it is what it is. I don't think they need more cap, and we'll talk about that here in a second. Charlene Evans,
Super chat.
The $99.99 donation. Thank you, Miss Charlene. Sky, I think it's cool if you and Mo do another crossover show or series again. Keep in mind, that's what's going to happen. I was on Mo's show yesterday, in the chat at least, and I told Mo, hey, let's do another crossover during this free agency frenzy. So maybe it'll happen this week, but it'll definitely happen in the coming weeks. And then Tom,
Super chat.
Sky, using one stat to gauge a player's skill set is lazy. Agree. Totally agree. Totally agree. So where do you guys grade this new Demarcus Lawrence deal? I think this should be an A all around, right? I got it as an A+ here. This is Russell, and I'll let you guys see your grades. Russell says an A. David an A. B47 says A. Michael A. Brandon B+. A for Haven. A for Mo. Captain America A. Vicente A. Yeah, I mean, do we not like this? B, B-, B+. Okay, Roberto came through. I'll stick my hand up. The money was a huge problem, so the deal definitely makes it better. Okay. Let's hope he stays healthy, which I know he can't control, but the best trade is availability. Appreciate that, Roberto. One of the people who weren't a big fan of Demarcus Lawrence because of said contract. He says the money was one of the main reasons, but because it went down, I feel a little better about it. A+ says Tino. A says Anthony, it softens the Cooper trade. Here's the interesting thing about that. Tino says, I still won't be happy until we sign Wagner with the whole Cooper thing. And that's the thing, right? Like, this deserves praise because you kept a good player and you got what you coveted most, right? Which is the cap. So you did two things in one. But I find this part interesting. The Cowboys have upwards of something like $30 million, correct, Cowboys Nation? $30 million now in cap space. And because of that, we'll talk about some of our free agents we want to see in here. But if you rescind the tag or you did not tag Dalton Schultz, that goes up to about $40 million, right? A lot of money. If you don't trade Cooper, you still have about $20 million. Enough money. So it's really odd. It's really odd how when people say the cap doesn't matter, I mean, obviously it matters to an extent, or the cap is a myth. Obviously it's not to an extent, but this is what people mean. You can make money jump. You can move money around. If you knew you were going to get a deal like this, you could keep everybody you want to keep, right? And that's really not the problem in Dallas, is keeping the same players. It's adding on top, right? So yes, kudos for, you already had Tank, so it's not keeping them. Kudos for restructuring Tank's deal, but now let's use that money to go get better, right? I guess it starts with bringing back a Randy Gregory. If you don't want to bring back Randy, cool. Bring somebody in that's better than Randy or just as good. Starts with bringing back Gregory Curse. Definitely bring back Gregory Curse. Point blank, period. You don't do well in that safety market. And then add on top of the team that you had. Because that's how you can get better via free agency as opposed to maintaining. Raheem Scott, appreciate the donation here.
Super chat.
He says, how do you think Dak truly feels about the offensive scheme and the Amari trade? Honestly, fam, I would never guess a player's mentality if they haven't come out and said something. So I can't give you an honest answer. I don't know how Dak feels about that. I could reach out to his brother, but I don't think he's going to give me that information either, right? So I don't know. Maybe eventually Dak's going to come out and talk, and he'll tell you. He'll tell you. All right, let's get into the phone lines. We got some folks that's on hold here, and then we'll get to who my top five. It's not even really top five, but 5 players that I wish the Cowboys could sign. 804, what it is, what it do?
Yo, what's good, Sky? You can hear me?
Yep, I got you loud and clear. What's up, man?
This Phil from the 804. I'm Phil Too Trill in the chat. I called.
Oh, Phil Too Trill. Okay.
Yeah, I called in the bot shit last night, so I was like, let me call him the Sky shit the first time, see what he on.
Appreciate you.
But shit, I was kind of surprised because I was watching your show the other day. I forget which one it was. It was John with Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
And usually, if anything, I'd be the one tripping, and I'll listen to you. You kind of calm me down a little bit, but you was kind of.
I wasn't happy about that trade, brother. I wasn't happy about that trade.
Yeah, neither was I. But you kind of got to let free agency happen a little bit. Ain't shit. Won't nobody getting signed and nothing for real. So you kind of got to let it happen. I feel like free agency ain't even start yet. Everybody was just jumping off shit.
Yeah, I think there's multiple conversations to have, right? I said this last week. Somebody came out and said, how would you grade the Cowboys offseason? I'm like, well, the Cowboys offseason didn't start yet. You can't grade it.
Nobody has started. And that's what I was saying. Like, you got to give it some time.
Yeah. Now there's that conversation. Then there's just the trade, right? Like you can grade the trade. You can talk about the trade. You can complain about the trade. You can like the trade. Like that's what we did yesterday. We pretty much talked about the trade. But like I said at the end of the show, all right, that happened. It's done. I'm not going to talk about Amari Cooper forever because he's not a Cowboy anymore. But the trade happened Saturday. I have a show on Monday. I'm going to talk about it. Now let's move forward and get to free agency and signings and things like that. And boom, we get our first kind of movement, which is getting cap space from Demarcus Lawrence.
And I was waiting for something to happen, like somebody to get, re-signed or something to happen for somebody to just I was going to see the whole everybody flip back to, the offseason ain't as bad. Nah, it's not. They're going to hop back on shit.
But I think
something got to happen.
Let me ask you this. Would that, and for me, it would take an outside free agent, but would that be an outside free agent, like primetime free agent signing for you, or would it just be bringing back Randy and Gregory and Curse?
For me, if we bring back Malik Hooker, Randy Gregory, I'll be cool with that.
Okay.
Even if we bring back Curse, I'll be cool with that too. But for real, I think we good. I think we just need to figure out the O-line situation. Tony Pollard need to start. Other than that, I think we straight for real, but I don't really need nobody too crazy to come for me to go crazy. If Bobby Wagner come out, I'd be turned up.
A player of that caliber for me would signify a change, right? Like I don't want to say a culture change, but these guys are understanding and learning that you can't just draft guys and then sign lower level free agents and try to win a Super Bowl. So that would excite me.
I feel like Kellen Moore is the problem.
Oh well, yeah, that's a whole other conversation.
It's too basic, bro. Like I'm sitting here seeing Tony Pollard, the 49ers game. Tony Pollard, when he was in the I forget. I think when he was in the series, we scored with Amari Cooper. I think it was that series, right? When Tony Pollard had started.
Yeah, the touchdown.
And I'm thinking, they got Pollard in. He's finna play the rest of the game. Then they took him out, and I'm like, yo, somebody gotta do something different, because like you can see obviously that Pollard's better, and I've been saying that since like halfway through the season. I was low key in denial, but I saw it. Like I can see it. He's better than Zeke. So it's like, why y'all got Zeke in the game? Regardless of the money, the better player got to play. That's how you win. So
yeah, we talked about that at length and probably will until the season starts about the Tony Pollard situation. This will be the year to really feature him more, because he's going to hit free agency, and they love their comp picks. So if you utilize Tony Pollard in a way that he produces a 1,500 yard total season, he's going to net you a nice comp pick, I think.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty much it though. But if any of the viewers there in the 804 area, I got me and my dad do a construction business. So if y'all need any of that in Virginia, Hopewell, Richmond area, check us out
check
at A&A Concrete.
A&A Concrete.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Check them out. Appreciate
I'm
the
in
call.
school right now in Virginia Beach, but
All right, man. Good luck at school, brother. Appreciate the call, man.
I appreciate you.
Thank you. Yeah, we talked about that at length, Tony Pollard thing. And I was looking in the chat, and one thing I did not bring up was what the NFC East has done. And I was going to do that later on in the week to give it some more days, but the one the signing I did like was Hassan Reddick. Been a fan of Hassan Reddick since he was at Temple. Used to live right next to Temple, so been following him since. And I like Hassan Reddick, and the Eagles signed him. He's coming off back-to-back double-digit sack years. They got a good one. One thing, we talk about philosophy and we talk about having an identity. The Eagles have that when it comes to their defense, and it's all about beefing up that defensive line. No matter what, they are going to continue to add premium talent, at least, whether it be they think it's in the draft or free agency, to try to make that defensive line go. So salute to them for getting Hassan Reddick. That absolutely was a good one. D Rich, what it do, man? D Rich, we got you.
Hello?
Yep.
Hey, what up, Still? It's been a grip, man. How you doing? Good morning.
I'm good, man. How are you? Is this D Rich?
Yeah, this is D Rich, man.
Okay.
What's going on?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm great, man. Glad to see you. It's been a while. I'm a mortgage broker, so, man, it's been busy the last couple. Yeah, it's been busy, so no doubt. But I was listening to the show as always. You do an outstanding job, man. I love how you stay objective, but yet you're also subjective, but you do it in a way that's not. You just on bomb.com. I got to give you your props, bro, for real.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
So, absolutely. Well, one of the things I wanted to share, I know what the previous caller was probably saying, and there are some things that he alluded to that I agree with, but to say that I would have to respectfully disagree with him when he says Pollard is better than Zeke. First of all, Pollard is an outstanding player in his own right. There's a different set of skill sets that they both have. It's not, and I always say this, just like I'm going to go to the Amari Cooper trade, which was an absolute asinine deal. But it also goes to the coaching and what you're doing to put your best talent in positions to be successful. Yeah. That's with any job, any life, any situation you're dealing with. When you have a company or organization you run, you put your talent in places where they can succeed. So everybody wins, right? So at the end of the day, Amari Cooper cannot throw himself the ball, number one. Number two, Amari Cooper with his route running, we're not going to probably see another guy that can run his routes as good as he did, probably for the Cowboys in a while. I don't even know if, as far as route running skill set, unless we trade for a future Devontae Smith when he gets year 2 or 3. But at the end of the day, going back to Tony, yeah, it was absolutely a beautiful thing when he's in the offense, and to not have him and Zeke in the offense together, it was ridiculous. And that's Kellen Moore's philosophy of that Scott Linehan back in the day with him, and it's just he doesn't know how to use his talent. Number two, I mean, going to Amari Cooper. Again, he can't throw himself the ball, number one. Dalton Schultz, everybody on that team got great looks and great opportunities because of Amari Cooper. That's not going to be there next year. When Amari Cooper was out for those a couple of games, okay, even when we won the game that Cedric Wilson in Minnesota, Amari caught the game-winning touchdown in Minnesota, there's a different dynamic on defense when you have Amari Cooper out there.
100%.
Even with damaged goods, with Michael Gallup out there, right? It's not going to be the same, even with him and CeeDee Lamb. And now Cedric is in Miami. That hurts us from a slot standpoint. So now we got to hope that Fehoko takes a big step up this year. We got to hope that some of our other younger wide receivers step up. But you still don't know what you're going to get in that, unless they feel like they're going to draft somebody out of the speed talent that we got in the
I think so.
combine that just happened.
I think get ready for a receiver in the top 3 rounds.
Yeah, I would think based off of what we saw at the combine, it looks like that can happen. Now, I trust Will McClay and his ability to see talent because he's already proven it tons and tons of times. But at the end of the day, Kellen Moore is our issue. And I'm going to take one situation for you just to secure my point on what I'm trying to say. You move former Georgia Bulldog to the L.A. Rams, okay, and he quarterbacks. He's there 1 year, and he wins the title. He had no talent. He had some bits and pieces of talent at Detroit. Doesn't do nothing. You move him to a team with talent. Get on a nice run towards the end, kind of had some all. Everybody didn't know he never won a playoff game, mess. Everybody was saying, this dude wins a title his first year. Dak has had talent like that. Now, has he had the defense like L.A.? No. He had one this year, though. So it goes to the coaching again. Until we figure this mess out, until Jerry and even Steven get out of their own way. I know, like they like to. It's like Shannon Sharp had made a comment about Jerry, like the people he drafts. He likes to make sure he
keeps
grows
them around, as opposed to the guys.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I get that. You've got your resources. You spent time. You've done your research on the kids. I get that to a point. But we have no idea how Michael Gallup's going to bounce back. And he's a beast. But Michael Gallup's a number 2. He's not a number 1. You know what I'm saying? He's a number 2.
I would have liked to keep Cooper, but the fact that it got Michael Gallup back on essentially a 2-year deal, to me, under market value, I can't complain about that.
Well, I mean, under market value, yes, but that's the big 50. That's the $1 million question. Is he going to bounce back like most people that have torn ACLs? And remember, he had it late in the year, man. It's not like he had it week 1, bro.
Yeah, if he comes back and he's ready to go week 1 full strength, dude is on some Adrian Peterson stuff because that just doesn't happen, like 7 months. So, I mean, kind of expect – I said personally, I don't expect Michael Gallup to be full go. Like, when I say full go, I mean all the way back until around October. So, he may play in September, but I don't think he'll be all the way on full go till October. We just saw Blake Jarwin have a similar injury. He didn't come back till later. Yep. And we saw, who was it? Tristan Hill had the same thing, and he didn't come back till the middle of the season. So,
correct. Yeah. So, what are we going to do for our wide receiver number 2? How's that going? Unless we plan on using Tony Pollard 70-80%, you know what I'm saying? I believe that I was hoping Kellen was going to go. I was hoping that somebody was going to draft him and pick him up so people can really see the flaws that this cat has. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, if McCarthy, I don't know why McCarthy is not taking over the reins, and I get it. But if you're the head coach, you can do what you got to do, man. And there's no more excuses. The team we had last year, everybody knows we shouldn't have got beat by San Fran. Everybody knows that, right? But it's just like we put so much sweat equity in our team. And man, I've been a fan since '79, bro. Okay, I'm DC for life, but it just you get so excited, and then we have this letdown. We get so
Yeah.
excited, then we have this letdown. And it's like, man, we had this great year. I mean, Dak is balling out. Then he gets hurt at New England, and all of a sudden there's a change. You know, then all of a sudden he starts to look pedestrian. And when he's doing this ascending to being one of the top quarterbacks in the league from week 1 through week 7, and then all of a sudden he becomes pedestrian.
You're saying a lot of good stuff.
I don't get it.
Saying a lot of good stuff. But hey, look, D. Rich, I
Yeah.
gotta get you going, man.
No doubt, bro. I feel you. Listen, I'll well, next time I'm down that way, man, I promise I'm gonna look you up, man. We got to get together, man. No question.
All right, man, hit me. Appreciate you. Where to begin? Nah, I get it, though. Sometimes people haven't called in a while, and they got to get it off, and I totally understand. Let's go back to the Zeke, because the Zeke and TP thing came up. Listen, I don't like to pit players against each other on this team. I hate that. You'll never hear me say one is better than the other. Now, I'll say this, Tony Pollard should have seen more action because Zeke was hurt. Absolutely. I mean, rest him. What the hell? And y'all know my philosophy. I believe Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott are better together than they are separately. I wholeheartedly believe that. And I don't think that Kellen Moore utilized them the right way. And in the back half of the year, once teams started to adjust, and I thought it could have been so easy to use TP and Zeke in the same backfield when teams started to do all that extra jazz. But we didn't do the 21 personnel set enough. We didn't utilize TP to his strengths enough. And when you did notice that there was a problem with Ezekiel Elliott's health, right, with his play because of his health, I don't think they used him correctly. So, yeah, I do put that on coaching more than I put that on the players. And, yeah, Zeke could have sat himself down, but why would he do that? He probably has incentives and things like that. I'm not going to blame the player. You know what I mean? If I'm the player and I know if I hit X amount of yards or touchdowns, I get X amount of dollars, I don't give a damn what y'all fans think. I'm going to go get my money. It is up to the coaches, right, and the ownership to do what's right for the team. And I think what was right for the team was to rest that man so he could be healthy enough for the playoffs, because we needed him in the playoffs, and they didn't utilize either one of those guys the right way against San Fran. So give me Zeke, give me TP together, at least for one more year. I don't think you're going to see them together after next year, as opposed to individually, especially right now with all the carries that Ezekiel Elliott, has put on his body. It's just the way of the land in regards to running backs. It's going to wear down. It's going to happen. It is what it is. So how do you help him continue to maintain productive play as he goes on and maybe lower the injury risk? It's by giving some more carries to Tony Pollard. I think it's that simple, man. We make things more complicated than it needs to be in Dallas. Got a couple different super chats. Let me get to here.
Super chat.
Michael Helton says Pollard is a chess piece if you watch him in college. Absolutely. You can move him all over the place.
Super chat.
And D Link says we finally have cap space to sign an impact player outside the organization. If we don't use signals, Catboy likes the status quo, and that's insanity. About to get to that here in a second. Any interest in Breece Hall? I have no interest in drafting a running back in the first 2 days. None. Go sign one. Maybe draft one in the 6th round, 7th round, undrafted free agents. Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott should be your guys. Sign in a third running back, and let's go. Let's go. All right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to get Nacho in here. Then we're going to transfer all this energy to my top 5 guys or 5 guys I want the Cowboys to check out in free agency. Since we got money, you know what I'm saying? Some of these may not be realistic. Some of them are realistic. But if you want to see the Cowboys take the next step, in my opinion, and it's not a big step, it's by going out in free agency and grabbing you a primetime player. So we'll get to that in a second. Nacho, what's up, man? Nacho.
My man, is this Sky?
Yes. What's up, man?
Good morning, man. Good morning. How you doing?
I'm good. How
A
you?
little earlier and right before I hop on and be on the road, but no. Thank you for taking me in. Hey, listen, I'm feeling, that there's a feeling of joy. My wife, I think, she put it as she was going like, man, I'm just feeling like we're losing our team. And I thought for a while there, I'm like, well, depending on what's going to really happen, we've already lost Cooper. We've lost Wilson. But when we heard the news, when we heard the news about, Demarcus Lawrence, oh, man, and the way it went about where, he's getting his guaranteed money and he's allowing us to really have that little space that we need. I'm okay with losing, Cooper and Wilson as long as we can stay with Demarcus Lawrence. And now, can we now use that money and go sign Gregory and Curse? If we can get those three, I'm okay with losing our receivers.
I'm not. That don't move the needle for me. And I'm not trying to be like, this Debbie Downer type of guy. That to me is an expectation. Like I expect you to bring back Randy Gregory and or J-Ron Curse. And if you're not going to bring back, Randy, then somebody, of that talent level. That doesn't do it for me. Because that is the exact same, and I'm not saying you don't want to not sign those guys. Like obviously you want to bring them back. But for me, it's building on top of that. And I don't want that to be missed. Right? Because I got a feeling what'll happen is Cowboys will bring back J-Ron, Cowboys will bring back Randy, and then we'll go sign guys from Family Dollar. And you ask yourself, well, damn, did the defense really improve? Or did it maintain itself? Maybe. Because if it maintains itself from a talent level, what happens in the NFL, we led the league in turnovers. The odds of that happening are very slim to none again, right? So how am I able to substitute that? How am I able to substitute the fact that I'm not going to get 35 turnovers the next year, right? You don't want to bank on that. So you bring in more talent. So, to me, bringing back those guys would be another, okay, I expect you to do that. And if you don't, do you expect the defense to be better? Because if they're not going to bring back Randy or J-Ron, do you really think they're going to go out and get this primetime player in free agency?
You make a good point. You make a really, really strong point.
I'm just bringing a little dose of reality. I don't mean to throw a wet blanket on it. It's just build on top.
No, absolutely.
I'm tired of maintaining. Build on top.
You know what? I feel you. We now that they have that wiggle room in that space, okay, go do what you need to do, and then let's just. And I'm just going to say a wishful.
Hey, Nacho.
Okay,
we got some news, Nacho.
What is it?
Cowboys have signed Malik Hooker. Malik Hooker. So we had a caller earlier talk about Malik Hooker being one of the guys to bring back. He is in town. So this most likely takes off one of my guys on the board of my free agents. So Malik Hooker, Cowboys Nation, is back in town. Thank you, chat.
Okay.
Looks like 2 years, $8 million for Malik Hooker. Very interesting that Hooker is the first to come down the pike of the Cowboys free agents. Interesting. So Malik Hooker, how you feeling about that?
Malik Hooker, I obviously coming out of Ohio State, he was a stud. Obviously he's had some injuries along the way. And, I think that's insurance at this point, depending on what's going to happen. But the big ones, as we know, and as we've been talking about, are Curse, and Gregory. Bring those back.
Man.
And I'd like to hope. Okay, this is me. This whole thing with La'el Collins and this trading, and if we're going to get anything or not or what, it's pretty obvious that when it comes to Stephen Jones and our organization compared to others, we are not very good in terms of when it comes to trading and getting the most for our players. We are not. We just do not do a good job of that. We don't. So now Hooker, find Curse, go get Gregory before he goes elsewhere, and then maybe make one big move, the pipeline dream that we're looking for, whether it's going to happen or not. But I'm hearing that there is conversation, there is contact, they are talking, they're exploring at this point with Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, that's a guy that
We concentrate.
Yeah, that's a guy that I'm gonna actually talk about here on one of my top 5. I mean, I'll just say it. He's in one of my top 5s.
Absolutely, right? And if we can do that, and then we can shift our focus to the NFL draft and the tail end of the free agency, then we're going to be okay, because let me tell you, this draft class, guy, is deep in receivers, deep in tight ends, deep in O-line, deep in pass rushers. So we can address those other needs there. But let's be competitive, and let's keep the core of those specific players. Otherwise, we're going the other way, and we're just basically going and washing the season as we wait for 2023 and all the big old conversations of a lame duck coach and what we have and all that, and then eventually, the potential of a Sean Payton or something like that.
Indeed.
Let's do things right. So we'll see what happens. But I'm excited. I'm happy. Cowboy Nation should be full of joy with Demarcus Lawrence.
Oh, okay.
He wanted to be there. We got him. Let's get going, baby. Let's get going. Have a great day, my man.
Appreciate it, Nacho.
My call.
Yep.
Thank you.
Believe it or not everybody is excited about D-Law, which is wild to me. But anyway, breaking news. Malik Hooker is the first, right? I guess the long snappers first, but the first real free agent that matters. Is returning to the Dallas Cowboys, according to Jory Epstein, 2 years, up to $8 million. To me, that pretty much rules out a couple of the guys I actually have on my wish list. I'm gonna be real with you, but we'll still talk about that. Question though in the chat, because I've seen a lot of people were a little bit worried. Do you guys think this kind of signals no return of Gregory Curse? I still think 2 years, $8 million. There's a ton of cap left. A ton of cap left to sign a Gregory Curse and a Randy Gregory if you want. Again, you could technically rescind the Dalton Schultz tag and add $11 more million. I still think, especially when you go look at the fact that, you got D-Law to rework his deal. You cut Malik Hooker, so you gained, what's that, $33 million in cap right there. There's just no need. There wasn't a need to tag Dalton Schultz. But they tagged him. It is what it is. If you think the Cowboys are still cap stricken, which, again, I say this all the time, the cap is fluid. You can make these numbers jump. Then you could rescind that and use that money to go get guys. But they don't necessarily have to do anything. And they still can sign a Gregory Curse, in my opinion, and a Randy if they want. But do y'all think Gregory will come back? I think people would seem a little bit nervous in here. Said he should have been cut. You wildin'. Let's see. No, they play a different position. Yeah, Miles Jack looks like he got cut. Another guy I like coming out of the draft years ago. Now, Curse was calling our defense. Quinn wants him. We can still get both. I agree. I think we still can get both. You know what I'm saying? I think the Cowboys can still re-sign Gregory Curse. Now, before we get into my top 5 guys, I do want to let you guys know about Worth the Poor. Take the edge off of game day. Stop by Worth the Poor Spirits and Wine in the Colony of Texas. Worth the Poor is a family-owned and operated luxury liquor store with affordable prices, with a wide variety of spirit, wine, and beer samples available, making your drink of choice decision easier than it's ever been. And for the game day party that doesn't end, they offer liquor deliveries for all of Denton County. But if you live outside of Denton County, don't worry. They can schedule delivery. Just give them a call, give them your zip code, and they'll schedule that delivery if possible. You also can download the Worth the Poor app on your phone and schedule delivery as well. So hit up worththepoor.com for more information, or visit Worth the Poor in the Colony of Texas. So Malik Hooker, guys, he's back. He's on a 2-year, $8 million deal. My thoughts on it, I like Malik Hooker. He was one of the guys I said, if the Cowboys don't prioritize the safety position, which they don't, Hooker is the one I would have wanted to bring back as opposed to DeMonte KZ. I think KZ's ceiling was hit. Malik Hooker, I still think, has a pretty decent ceiling. being as though that he had his first really healthy season last year with Dallas, and he played that sphere role that Koye dubbed on the show some months ago, where he was everywhere. He was single high, he was in the box, he was in slot, out wide. He was everywhere as a safety, and I always believed in his talent. It was just a matter of him staying healthy. So I'm excited about getting Malik Hooker back, especially knowing I don't think Dallas is going to add a safety in the top 100 picks, to be honest with you. So getting him back solidifies that free safety position heading into the draft. Now you just gotta lock down J-Ron, right? Like, you gotta lock that down. You got to. All right, let's get into my list here, and then I'll hop back into the phones as we talk about said list. So this is Sky's free agent wish list, which really you probably can take off 2 of these names because you just signed Malik Hooker, and Dallas they're not going to double up at said position. And we'll start off with Tyrann Mathieu. I mean, y'all know how I feel about Tyrann Mathieu, right? Honey Badger would have been a gold signing for the Cowboys because I'm all about beefing up that middle, and that's what you'll see here. You'll be like, damn, you all about the middle of the defense. Yes, because that's where Dallas needs the most help. So Tyrann Mathieu was my top guy, and this isn't really an order, but Tyrann Mathieu is my top guy. The Honey Badger would have been great here, championship caliber guy. Would have been your best safety you've had since Darren Woodson. Point blank period. Leader, all pro, immensely talented, and can do everything. I would have loved to get Tyrann Mathieu, but that's not going to happen. Then you got Foye Oluokun. We talked about Foye weeks ago when we were looking at possible replacements for LVE. Now, he wasn't a replacement for LVE. I had my Catboy replacements. Foye was more of a dream signing I would like. Foye Oluokun was actually drafted, for those who don't know, by Dan Quinn about 4 years ago, something like that. So he's a former Dan Quinn linebacker. He fits that Dan Quinn mold we always talk about. Super athletic, quick, fast. He can strike. He can cover. He's not a guy that's 240 pounds. He likes those sub 235, sub 230 guys, and he is definitely that. And I think he would, him and Micah flying around the linebacker position would be amazing. And let's not forget, linebacker at this moment, as we speak, is still a huge need. Now, I see that Miles Jack is available. I mean, I could potentially put him up there too, but he wasn't available when I put this together. So Tyrann, Foye, then of course Bobby Wagner at the linebacker positions. All right, in regards to the back seven, Bobby Wagner, we talked about this over the last week. I think would be one of those, I border on saying hump signings, but one of those signings that show me that, okay, you are changing your tune. Same thing with Tyrann Mathieu, right? You're changing your tune in how you address free agency. You now do believe that you can bring in a guy like this to help your team get over the hump. And Bobby Wagner checks all the departments, right? Former Dan Quinn linebacker, just came off a Pro Bowl season, career high in tackles, still very productive linebacker. Is he the 24-year-old Bobby? No, but he still would be your second best linebacker here in Dallas and one of the best ones in the league. So this is a no-brainer with Bobby Wagner. Angel says, did Foye sign with the Jags? So he did sign with the Jags? Okay. So then we can scratch Foye off. I didn't see that. Man, the Jags signed so many players yesterday. It just kind of just went by. So let's replace Foye and put Miles Jack. I guess that makes sense why they got rid of Miles Jack then, right? That makes sense why they got rid of Miles Jack. So let's put Miles Jack there as opposed to Foye Oluokun, which I'd have loved to get. I wonder what his numbers were. Anybody got the numbers on Foye? I'll get to my last two here in a second, but let me hit the phone lines. 3, 2, 1. What it do?
Hey, Scott, what's up, man?
What's going on?
Not much, man. So I was just thinking, man, that the Demarcus Lawrence deal is huge, man. Like, a lot of people don't understand, man. Like, that frees up a lot of money. They're going to do what we have to do. And as far as Gregory and Curse goes, I have a question to ask you on that. How would you feel if instead of getting Gregory and Curse back, they went and drafted Jaquan Brisker? How would you feel about that? Would that be mixed emotions, or do you still prefer Jaron Curse over Brisker?
I prefer Jaron Curse over Brisker, and I'm gonna be real with you. I'm not. This isn't new. Like I just won't mock. I won't pretend that the Cowboys are going to take a safety in the top 2 or 3 rounds until they do it. So I'm operating under the impression that Dallas is not going to draft a safety high. So I got to bring in a guy that can already do it. Plus, I just think Jaron Curse is a better player right now as we speak. So give me the better player that's already played under your system, that played a very integral part of your system, by the way, that knows the league, is a leader. It's just, I don't even think it's close.
Okay. And then another position I wanted to ask you about, because I don't know if he's on your list or not.
Sure.
How do you feel about, still feel about Akeem Hicks?
You know what's funny? You say that. I had Akeem Hicks on my list. I took him off because I try to say, all right, listen, I know Bobby Wagner's probably a long shot. I know Tyran's probably a long shot. Let me get some realistic guys. I looked at Akeem Hicks, and I'm like, in his projection, I'm like, I don't know if Dallas would be willing to go multi-year deal on him. That's just how they don't really believe in spending money at that position. So I took him off that list, and I put Calais Campbell on that list because I think Calais Campbell would be a 1-year deal, and they have the cap to be able to take that small. It's not even a big hit. I think you can get him sub $10 million. And if it doesn't work out, it's 1-year deal. So I like Akeem Hicks. I do. So I would love to get him.
Okay, and just my last question. As far as Tyler Biadasz goes, do you feel like another year he would be better, or do you feel like, it's time to scrap the project of Tyler Biadasz?
Oh, yeah, I think he'll get better. Remember, last year was his first year as a center. Well, now, would he be better to be a Pro Bowler? Probably not, but I'm one of those people that are not as down on Tyler, but I welcome competition for him. And if you draft a Tyler Linderbaum, then it is what it is with Tyler Biadasz. See ya. Appreciate you. But Tyler Linderbaum has kind of franchise center type of ability. But I think that Biadasz can get better the more he plays. I don't know where his ceiling is at, though, but I think he can get better.
I think his ceiling is definitely top 8 centers once he reaches his ceiling. But I just don't understand why everybody just wants to give up on him so fast. Like, it takes time for players to fill out in the NFL, and think about it like this. A lot of people were like, oh, man, he got whooped against Tampa, and he got whooped versus Aaron Donald. Everybody gets whooped versus those two teams.
Yeah, for me, the left guard position was more of the concern than the center position. Mm-hmm. But obviously the interior was the most concerning of the offensive line. The center and left guard were the two weak points of the line. But I think what happens is with Cowboys fans, and I said this yesterday, most fans don't really look outside of the organization, which is normal. That I think is a normal thing. Most fans, diehard fans, only focus on their team. But when you go look around the league, offensive line play is not all that great. And when you stack up Tyler Biadasz with the rest of the people, Tyler Biadasz isn't some bum. Tyler Biadasz is a middle-of-the-road center, like a lot of centers in this league. So can he get better? I think he can based off of that. He's young. This is only his first year starting. But we'll see. I mean, he's still a young player. Again, I'll keep on saying this. I welcome competition, whether it be Matt Forniak, whether it be a drafted guy. If they don't, I think center is the least of your concern right now as we speak. It's left guard, and it's depth on the offensive line once you get rid of La'el Collins.
Okay, yeah. And I know I said my last thing, but I was going to say in my order, our needs right now would be I would like to say linebacker, the safety position, and interior offensive line. Oh, and tight end as well. Those are the main spots I want to see them try to kind of fill or try to address in this free agency so far.
Tight end and free agents. I mean, they franchise tag Dalton Schultz. I don't think they're spending more money.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, unless they sign a tight end 3, then yeah, they probably spend some money. But I can't see them allocating a ton of money, more money than they are, which is $11 million. And I think they'll try to get a long-term deal with Dalton Schultz to lower that cap hit.
Yeah. All right, my man.
All right, brother. Appreciate the call, man. Thank you, chat, for getting me that information on Foyer Louis. This is why I love y'all, man. I appreciate y'all. So it was a 3-year. I went and looked too, but here it is. I got rid of it. 3-year, $45 million deal, $28 million guaranteed at the signing for Foyer. I knew I knew he wasn't gonna last too much dang long. I don't know why I didn't take a peep at that, but so he's off the board. He's off the board. Let's get back into Twan. What up, Twan? Twan said, leave it to the fans to replace everybody. Hey, Twan, you should have been in here a couple days ago. We had our guy VB from Virginia Beach. He said, package everybody. He said, package Conor McGregory. He said, Conor McGregory. Package Zach Martin. He want everybody packaged. I thought that was funny, but I felt his frustration. Let's get back to my wish list. So the bottom two, again, Marcus May, scratch it, right? Like Marcus May, you know what? Nah. Stay with me here, Cowboys Nation. Stay with me here on Marcus May. Let me talk to y'all for a second, man. Let me talk to y'all for a second on Marcus May. If you don't, and I'll get to Calais. If you don't re-sign J-Ron Curse, it just hit me that Marcus May actually played both positions in New York. Initially, I looked at Marcus May, thought, boom, free safety. But he played both positions, especially when Jamal Adams left. So as I'm talking through this, I'm not going to scratch Marcus May off this list. If you don't get a J-Ron, I mean, he could be a guy that could fill that J-Ron role. A leader. He could play the green dot. He's a smart safety. He's a veteran. And it's not like Dan Quinn requires a guy that's been in his system. I mean, no offense to J-Ron, but J-Ron came from a different team, never played with Dan Quinn, and he was able to pick it up. And I think Marcus is of that caliber. Am I wrong? Now he's coming off of like Achilles injury, so that's a thing. But they just signed 2 safeties last year that came off of those same injuries. So I'm not going to scratch Marcus May off. I would definitely bring him in if you don't get a J-Ron Curse, and then you roll with the Marcus May and then Malik Hooker, which from a talent standpoint, I can live with that. Now, I would be a little nervous on the injury front, but from a talent standpoint, I can live with it. Would you guys be okay with the Marcus May if you can't bring back a J-Ron Curse? I talked myself into it. Twan wants Miles Jack or Wagner, then drafted linebacker. A left guard like Green dot Penning. Green, not Penning. Linebacker to me is still top of the free agency need list. Gregory, we got more news. Let me just go confirm, y'all. Let me just go confirm. Yep. Breaking, Randy Gregory has agreed to terms with the Cowboys on a multi-year deal. Y'all want to hang around for a little bit? Want to hang around until we get these numbers? And this is from multiple sources, obviously, that we respect here. Bobby Belt says sources Randy Gregory expected to remain in Dallas despite a hard push from other teams. And then Patrick Walker says Gregory has agreed to terms with the Cowboys in a multi-year deal per source. So, I mean, I got to update this one now. It's not Tank anymore. It's not Malik Hooker. It's one Randy Gregory is back. So here we go. Tank was already under contract, but you got Randy back. The last domino to fall of the 3 we've been talking about over the last, 3 months, we all kind of agreed on Hooker, on Curse. I don't want to say we all agreed on Randy, but a lot of us agreed on Randy Gregory. Now, the numbers, when they come out, maybe that'll help people kind of feel better about the situation with Randy, but we don't know. Or feel worse if you're one of those guys that don't want to bring him back on a big deal. But Randy Gregory has been signed or re-signed by the Dallas Cowboys. We're just waiting on the numbers to come out to give you all the details. So I'll keep on refreshing here as we get going. Patrick Walker says, still waiting on the details, but text from source describes deal as years, plural, meaning multiple. The Cowboys secure their other starting edge rusher after getting Demarcus Lawrence taken care of, freeing up cap space in the process. to offer Randy Gregory. So here we are. Randy Gregory is back. We'll get the details in a bit here. But this was one for me that I had. It was J-Ron, it was Randy. I need to get those two guys back. And they did. Well, they got Randy. My bad. 804. We got you on the horn. What it is, what it do?
You get me?
Yep, I got you.
Hey, this Phil again. I just was calling back because I just seen Malik Hooker.
Bro, I thought so. I'm like,
I
saw your number. I said, I could have sworn he just called in here.
Yeah, I spoken into existence. I literally said Randy and Malik.
Here we go.
Bro, it's crazy. I just came from 7-Eleven. I was just walking in there. I seen it. My mouth dropped. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
I called it.
Yep. So I think people are in the chat are saying about $13 million a year. Is that okay? Yeah. So
That's
according
right.
to Ian Rappaport, Cowboys expected to sign their own pass rusher Randy Gregory to a deal around $13 million per year. The deal wasn't done yet, but it's headed that way.
So you got to J-Ron, and if we could get a free agent, or you don't think we got enough?
If it's a multiple year deal, I would imagine the first year cap hit they can minimize that, right? Same thing with J-Ron Curse, and they can still go get a guy. Like, yes, I'm not changing my tune. I expected them to bring back J-Ron and Randy. That was an expectation for me, especially when you get rid of Cooper. There's no excuse. You can't use cap as an excuse. So
I ain't gonna lie, because I ain't one of those Cowboys fans that just be saying we gonna do all this and that. But if we get J-Ron and we sign Bobby Wagner, it's gonna be real. It's gonna be a problem for real, because that's a good ass defense, and we ain't never seen nothing like that.
And I'm hoping that Dan Quinn can go into Jerry or Steven's office.
Dan Quinn, I trust Dan Quinn.
Oh, 100%. I trust Dan Quinn, and I'm hoping his word is strong, where he can say, hey, "Listen, I don't want Bobby. Then what about so and so? A guy that can come in here and help elevate the defense." So we'll see.
Shit, we just need an old lineman. That, and they need to stop tripping with Zeke. They need to just start Pollard. We'd be all right.
Oh, here we go back on that. All right, man. Let me get to.
I'm just saying what we need to do to be a better team.
I know, but I gotta get more callers in here, man. I got people that haven't.
Oh yeah,
gotten in yet.
Go ahead.
All right, bro. Appreciate you. We got 843 in the building. What's up, 843?
What's going on, Sky? It's Twan, man.
Which Twan? I got a couple Twans.
Mr. Right, Mr. Right.
Okay, Mr. Man, I haven't heard from you on the horn in forever, man. What's up with you?
Man, busy.
I can dig it.
Hey, what's your thoughts on Malik Hooker coming back, when him coming off an injury and playing like he played for limited snaps? I think you give him another 4 year in the offseason, he can make a difference, because you've seen what he was coming out of Ohio State.
Yeah, I've been a fan of Malik Hooker since Ohio State. I always said it's just injuries, right? And when you got him last year, it was a prove-it deal, and I think he played better than DeMonte KZ, and I believe the Cowboys believe that as well, because they brought him back on a multi-year deal. And make no mistake about it, getting him at 2 years is so much better than another 1 year deal. So kudos to Steven for that. He kind of got the same type of deal that Terrell Basham got, right, which was a 2 year deal just in case he had a good season. You're not overpaying to bring him back. So what do I think about it? I love it. He was one of my top 3 guys to bring back on the team.
Oh, yeah, I like to play it. One more thing, the draft's coming up. I see a lot of guys putting Penning over Kenyon Green. When I watch Penning, man, I see he has no bend. Yeah, he's a nasty player, but in the NFL, that could be a lot of flags.
Yeah, I had this conversation with the guys on the round table. A couple of them view Penning as a guard, and I just have a hard time viewing a guy that's 6'7", almost 6'8", as a guard. That is a disadvantage from a leverage standpoint. And yeah, like you said, he's nasty and things like that. But if people have Penning above the Kenyon Greens, I think it's because of the positional value. They're viewing him as a tackle. So if they're viewing him as a tackle, he's probably going to be higher than a guy like Kenyon Green on a lot of people's boards.
I appreciate it, Scott. You take it easy, man. I love your work, man.
Thanks,
doing
Juan.
what you're doing.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it, man.
All right.
Wow, we getting some news. News dropping. Appreciate you, Sully, for the $2 donation.
Super chat.
Tell Phil to speak the undoing of the Coop deal to existence. Phil did call in here, and he pretty much he said, hey, man, we got to re-sign Hooker, or we got to re-sign Randy Gregory, and then literally 10 minutes later, boom, got both of them. So We got Coach Marv in the building, man. Coach Marv is respected around this Cowboys community. What's up, Coach? Uh-oh. Coach, we got you? We don't have Coach just quite yet, but we do got TP for NC. What's up, TP?
Hey, how's it going? How's it going, Sky?
I'm good. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing all right, man. Still getting over this disappointing season, but, you know, it is what it is. I'm just hoping that we solidify this offensive line because I think everything starts with the line, you know, and I just hope they make some moves. I think Jerry and them will sign some more players. I think Randy Gregory will get signed. I think my thing is I want to know what's going on with Curse.
Okay, we got numbers. We got numbers on Randy Gregory's deal.
Okay, well, how about Curse?
Curse is there's no movement on Curse besides he wiped out his if you go look at his Instagram, he scrubbed his Instagram of all things Dallas Cowboys. So there's that. Yeah.
Oh.
I think there's still hope, though. I think there's still hope. The Cowboys got a ton of cap space. They value Curse. Dan Quinn has a big say. So I still think we can hold out hope that Curse will be back.
Right. And I think they got some kind of plan. I believe. It's just too crazy what they're doing. You know, a lot of things just too crazy. It may look one way, but it may be another way. So I'm just gonna see what's going on after everything's done. You know, after all the tea leaves fall, and just see where it is. But they, like you said, they freeing up a lot of money. So we'll see. We'll see what's up. And I do believe that Quinn has a lot of influence on what's going on. And I'll say this much though: if they somehow never sign Michael Thomas, I will honestly believe
Michael Thomas, the wide
they're setting it up for Sean Payton,
the wide receiver.
Yeah.
Oh, they would have to trade for Michael Thomas.
Okay. Well, if they do, and if some way or another they do sign it, I do believe they're setting it up for Sean. I'm just believing it. But my thing is, and I'll let you go, Sky.
Yeah.
I want them to solidify the offensive line because everybody talks about Zeke. But you got to understand, when Emmitt Smith was running, he had holes me and you could run through.
Sure.
And I think if they solidify the offensive line, we'll be fine. And that's all I had to say, Scott.
I appreciate you, man. You're absolutely right about that line. Thanks for the call.
Mm-hmm.
So we got numbers. Randy Gregory, 5-year, $70 million deal, $28 million guaranteed. So more details are coming. What is the cap hit? Somebody asked. Not quite sure just yet what year one is. But again, like most contracts, the year one cap hit is usually nothing. I mean, I shouldn't say nothing, but it's not a big hit. And when you go look at the $28 million guaranteed, whatever they decide to give him as signing bonus, that will help determine what that year one cap hit is. So if he's getting anywhere upwards of $10 million plus in the signing bonus, the cap hit over the next couple years shouldn't be a lot. And once again, the Cowboys pretty much fall in line with the status quo, right? 5-year deal, likely a 2-year out, which we'll get to whenever the details come. And most of the guarantees will be in that first 2 or 3 years. So Randy Gregory has re-signed with the Dallas Cowboys for a 5-year, $70 million deal, $28 million guaranteed. T-Mac says, so basically a 2-year deal. I would imagine so. We don't got the details just quite yet, but I would imagine this is one of those deals that they like to do, which is, don't look at the funny money, is what I like to call it. Like when who was it? Amari Cooper got signed. Everyone was like $100 million. Oh my God. But it clearly showed it was a 2-year deal with the $40 million guaranteed up front. So with all these contracts across the league, the funny money is there, the big money, the $84 million Christian Kirk, but it's really about the guarantees, right? And the cap hits early on in those guarantees. How big and small are they? The average APY makes sense if they're going to play the entire contract. But we are still getting details. So if those details are coming out, Cowboys Nation, feel free to drop them in there Right now, the latest is 5 years, $70 million on Randy freaking Gregory. And we got back Malik Hooker. The last one that I expect and hope that they bring back is Gregory and Curse. It's the last one. All right. Do we got Coach Marv now? There we go.
Drop that call on you, man.
It's
Man,
all right,
good talking to you, man. Ain't talked to you in a while.
It's been a while, man. How you feeling about the move so far this morning?
Man, hey, Sky, my feeling is good. We need to go all in on defense. All in on defense. So we don't have to put the pressure on this offense because we going young with this offense.
Right.
We don't need, and I don't think we going young with this offense is going to be bad. But we don't need to put the pressure on this offense to score 42 points. This defense, in another year with these guys collectively, young guys together, is only going to get better.
So who would you like to see them?
Who will I go get next?
Yeah, next. Yeah.
Dan Quinn got his finger on this whole thing. So if Dan Quinn won't curse, he'll be here.
Okay.
The Cowboys, listen, guys, I try to tell all Cowboys fans this. Any player the Cowboys want to keep, they have never lost.
Oh,
then
for sure.
If they want to keep him, he's going to be here. They'll find a way to keep him here. And if he ain't going out, I think there's an understanding that we're going to do this in stages. We got 1, 2, 3. Now it's time to work on, and I believe the last piece is with Curse. We're trying to work on Curse as well as trying to get Wagner here.
Hey Marv, I would secure Curse long term, man. And I know I'm probably jumping the gun, Cowboys Nation, and y'all know my safety bias. But I just look at Curse and I say we haven't had stability at the position. You know what I'm saying? And Curse is only 27, 28. I get him signed to a long-term deal where I can get out in 2 to 3 years because they love that. Man, I think that will go a long way in solidifying that position.
He's more of he's more than the safety. He's more of a hybrid. Sure. That hybrid thing that the NFL is really getting into. And I think his leadership they want that type of mentality. So I don't see him sign no less than a 5-year deal because he's been bouncing around. So he's looking for some security. I know he is because he only been on for the last 2 or 3 years. He's been on 1-year deals. Yeah. So he's looking for a little security there. And I think the Cowboys trying to work him into maybe a 5-year deal. But I think they're trying to work the numbers right because I really think they want Wagner here, the linebacker positions where they can really go a little bit more offensively in the draft if they can get those positions locked up. And I think that's what they want to do. I think they want to go younger with the offense with some linemen, receivers, in those spots. But if they can get those 2 other pieces on that defense, I think they're happy with their defense going forward, and then they can work on their offense. But I think the main thing, Sky, we need to push this. They need some physical presence at tight end. This is not going to work with Dallas if you go in there with Schultz and maybe the McKinnon guy, or you try to put for Hoko a little bit. You need a physical presence at tight end because
got a guy for
you're not going to be able to run the football if you ain't got that.
I got a guy for you. Jelani Woods.
So
check out Jelani Woods from Virginia. Transferred from Oklahoma State, I think. 6'7", like 260, ran a 4.6 in the 40. Long, big catch radius, but he was a blocking tight end for 3 years in college, and then he kind of blew up as a pass catcher in Virginia. I would love to add a Jelani Woods here in the draft to pair with Dalton Schultz. And if anything were ever to happen to Dalton, I think Jelani Woods could kind of mold himself into that next guy to step in. So take a look at him.
Yeah, and that's what you need. You need a physical presence at tight end to block because, again, as we know, the running game is the key to setting this offense up with the receivers. And I think if we are more balanced, it'll help, with our, not having as many receivers. And I think CeeDee Lamb is ready to be a number 1 receiver.
Sure.
He drafted in the first round for a reason. And people, I know Cooper, we didn't like to get Cooper. I hadn't talked to you about the Cooper thing. I know we didn't really get rid of Cooper. But if you had to get rid of Cooper to solidify this defense, You got to give up something, Sky. You can't just keep it all. You can't just say, oh, well, we keep Cooper and we'll push this down the road and we'll get the deep. You had to make a choice, and I think they went half and half. They still got some players on offense, and they don't want to lose the ground that they're building on this defense from last year because they know it can go from it could be a top 10 or top 3 defense.
But you could, though. Like that's the thing. You could, and they didn't, and it's okay. Like we talked about it. Getting rid of Cooper, whatever. It's just get rid of him for something significant or something that can help you. I don't think a 5th-round pick is helping you. But that's an entirely different conversation.
Yeah, but when you get to the point where teams know, GMs and all the people out there know your salary cap situation, and they know your front office. Defensive free agents.
They know your front office.
Yeah, and they know your front office, and your front office already put it out there that you. And listen, GMs already know that you were phasing them out. Everybody's seen that. The whole world can see you were phasing them out.
Yeah,
but you weren't using them.
And here's the thing too, Coach. Like, all right, they really got rid of him because they wanted that space. So now let's actually use that space to improve your team. I don't want people to mistake in this. Improving your team is not just getting the same people back. And I love Hooker. I love J-Ron. I love Randy. You needed to get those guys, right? Or at least guys that were of that talent level. But now improve it. If we can use that cap to go out and get a guy to help improve it, I'm all for it. The reason why people are frustrated is because we hear cap, and we never utilize it to get better. We utilize it to remain the same.
That's right, and that's a frustrating thing. But they got 2 more pieces. I would be ecstatic if they can get Curse signed with the Cooper move, and they say, okay, the Cooper move allowed us to get a guy like Wagner, linebacker, because Wagner's going to prove 2 things. He's going to mold Parsons. He's going to give Parsons another guy that's experienced that he can learn from. Because Parsons don't have that in the linebacker room. Didn't have that last year. So he's going to get a guy that's an all-pro, probably a Hall of Famer to learn from.
Oh, 100% Hall of Famer.
And it's going to make Parsons even better.
Yeah. I'm with you.
So if they can do that, and then we can work out, and then turn it over to Will McClay and say, free agent pickups and draft, Let's make some moves, Will McClay. Let's get the best pieces. We can go best player available, and let's get the best people in here to build the depth on this team.
Absolutely, absolutely, Coach. Absolutely, bro. Appreciate the call, man.
Thank you, Sky, man. Keep pushing, bro.
Thank you, bro. Yeah, I'm looking over here, looking at the moves here, just to see if anything else dropped down the pike, any more information that came through. Not quite seeing it just yet, but. How we feeling so far, Cowboys Nation? We talked about it some weeks ago. There was 3 guys we were really interested in, most of us, bringing back J-Ron, RG, Randy Gregory, and Malik Hooker. We got 2 of the 3 so far. 2 of the 3. How we feeling so far? Twan says, take back the tag. I said that same thing. And use a draft as free agents. Listen, they have an opportunity. The Cowboys have an opportunity right now to utilize this cap space to get better. And I agree. Rescind the tag, right? Clear up $11 more million. And Coach Marv says something to me that I think I'm leaning towards as well. We all trust Dan Quinn better, right? We trust Dan Quinn more than we probably trust Kellen Moore. Dan Quinn helped elevate this defense with, if we're being honest, going into the season, a lot of question marks. There was the Trayvon Diggs, the Demarcus Lawrence, Randy Gregory, Micah. Other than that, a whole lot of question marks. So replace some of those question marks with bona fide guys. He said, if we're going to get rid of somebody, we can't keep everything, continue to build on the defense, then damn it, let's do it. Right? Go sign a Tyrann, which ain't gonna happen, but go sign a Bobby Wagner, Calais Campbell. Go add some studs on this defense and take it to another level, right? And then go into the draft. You get your guard. You possibly get your Sky Moore, Lave, whomever, right? In the first, second, third round for wide receivers, if that's the way you want to go. Or you continue to build the defense. But I think if you add those pieces, another linebacker, a defensive tackle, you can go into the draft with way more clarity of true BPA of need. as opposed to if the Cowboys do nothing at defensive tackle and it's just another Brent Urban, if they do nothing at the linebacker position and it's another Keanu Neal, you're kind of backing yourself in the corner. Even if they do nothing at guard, which probably wouldn't do too much, but if they don't bring anybody at guard, you're backing yourself into a corner at those positions. So for me, and I don't even want to sign a guard. I'd rather just utilize it for difference makers defensively, like a defensive tackle or a safety or a linebacker. Danny says, speaking of Urban, Brent Urban on a vet minimum probably is what's going to happen. That's how they operate in regards to defensive tackle, unless otherwise. But go get me Calais, man. Don't sleep on the big fella. And we know Dan likes versatile guys. Calais can play defensive end. If they go odd front, he can slide in defensive tackle. They go even front. Even at his age, man, he stays productive and he plays. Don't get it twisted. He's like an Iron Man. 8 of the last 9 seasons, he's played at least 14 games, including 15 last year. And he was just a Pro Bowler in 2020. So, you know, I've been a big Calais Campbell fan for years. I'm not looking at Calais as a hump signing, but I'm looking at Calais as a guy that can come in here and help your front. The best defensive tackle you would have had in years, right? So that's just me. That's my 5 guys. Now, a couple of those guys are not realistic, probably. One of those guys, Foyer, is out. We can replace him with Wagner. I'll be cool with that too. Not Wagner, but Miles Jack. I'll be cool with that too. I'll be cool with Miles Jack. All right, let me lock these up real quick and get to the rest of these. D Shift, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up, sir?
What's going on with you?
Morning, man.
How you feeling? How you feeling?
I'm great, man. And I was, man, with Lawrence and Gregory's deal, we're getting about, getting 2 players for the price of what, like a TJ Watt.
I'm not sure what Watt's contract looks like, but possibly.
I think it was like a high, like maybe been like 26, 27. I think that's where premium pass rushers have gone now. It's about 26, 27 mil. So I mean, you add those two, roughly 30 million, right? So I feel good about it. Ultimately, I think the Cowboys are in a position to, and I'm with you I'm with you as far as not wanting to spend assets on things that you just got rid of, right? But if we kind of break down the Cooper situation, right? You ultimately have to go draft another wide receiver to replace what you already had. Mm-hmm. But initially, you kind of let go of Cooper to get these guys back that. It makes you a little worried to get a Schultz and a Gallup back and get rid of a Cooper, because now these guys have to go against the number ones. They're now the number 2 and 3 targets when a defense wants to scheme out, who they need to scheme out. They had the luxury of having someone like Amari to where, I think a lot of Schultz benefited from that. But now he has to ultimately be, up in the pecking order, so to say.
Yeah,
so
you're basically saying
it's a little work.
It's a question mark on how they're going to be utilized by Kellen Moore. We don't even know yet, because they've always operated with Amari Cooper, and B, how defenses are going to game plan against them. One thing, once all the dust settles on the Cooper stuff, on the people that the Cowboys add, the players, one thing that needs to come back to the forefront is that Kellen Moore is the guy that's going to have to improve as a play caller and play designer and game planner, because he doesn't have the guy anymore. Well, I think Lamb could be, but he doesn't have the guy in his pocket that dictates coverage yet. We don't know that of Lamb just quite yet, but we'll see. So I think when everything settles, we're going to have to focus shift our focus back to Kellen Moore and say, all right, Kellen, Coop's gone, right? You got Lamb, you got you got Michael Gallup whenever he returns. You still got Zeke, you still got TP, you still got Schultz. You still have guys, and whoever you draft. Now, can you please utilize these guys correctly? Because if you just come back with the same old same, D-Shift, I don't really see much changing.
And then the same ingredients, like as far as, getting Gregory and Lawrence, you didn't really have those two and Parsons all year, all together last year. So you get a chance to maybe be able to try to run that back and see what that would have looked like for the majority of the year and what it could build to going into the playoffs. You got a lot of talent who's still ascending, and so do other teams, right? Like there's other podcasts where people are feeling optimistic because they have rookies who come year 2 and 3, they're expecting to see some growth. But I think the things on offense that you also have to address as far as more physicality and less, a lot of those penalties that got caught on us were, frankly, because, that interior is trying to save their tail from just basically being overpowered and overmatched, a lot of times. So if we can get something more physical and short it up like what Ron Leary did, like he wasn't this big name, but he was what that line needed.
Yeah, I love addressing that in the draft. Like I feel like I can get me a starting left guard in the first 3 rounds of the draft. I do.
Right, and I mean, it's kind of also what you need, right? Like I really kind of wanted to get one of those guards who are out there. There's a lot of interior guys who are out there in free agency, only because I didn't want to have this line turn into what the Andre Gerard and Flozell Adams line and Leonard Davis. They just kind of let it get old, and they never replenished anything, and they just let all of them go at one time, and then had to start from jump.
You're right. You're right. But speaking of Leonard Davis, I loved the Leonard Davis signing when it was signed. He was a good player for the Cowboys, but they did take too long to recoup the offensive line. It took until Jason Garrett got here to do it.
And that's what I'm seeing happening with this line. It's they were young for a long time together, but these years have kind of passed up to where it was hard to replace any point because those guys were all about the same age. And then, all of a sudden Frederick retires.
That's the one.
And you've given assets, right? 2nd and 3rd round assets. But we all know that, like I said, for me, the draft is about probability. So, like, the probability of you getting a Hall of Famer in the 6th round is slim. That's why you don't see a lot of them, right? You see them, but most of your Hall of Famers come from, the 1st and 2nd rounds earlier in the draft. So, if we're playing the game of of chance at the end of the day, I don't want, Jerry made the mistake of not investing 1st-round picks in offensive line because of what he did with one O-line or what he saw done with one O-line. Thinking he can, create the same thing all the time. So I just want to see some premium assets being put toward that O-line because the biggest part of, of just our demise, so to say, is just there was a lot of problems with the O-line. Penalties, can't run the ball, Dak doesn't have time. That all has, tied to the O-line. So I just want to see that, man. But other than that, I'm fine with everything we've been doing with defense and okay about the Cooper thing because, like I said, Cooper to me was just a luxury that you invested in, but you never used it, so why have it? Still a great player, but
I hope
they're not going to use it.
I hope Lamb doesn't fall into that same category.
Yeah, I don't get it either, but we'll see. But all right, Scott, man, thank you for the call, man, and be good on your end, bro.
Appreciate you. As always, D-Shift. Looking to see if there's any more news in regards to Randy or anybody else. I'm not seeing it just yet. We're in OT right now, Cowboys Nation. I'm going a little bit of OT right now because, the Malik Hooker signing. You got Randy Gregory, that's back. We got 2 of the dominoes we wanted to fall. Who's next? We got to put the positive energy in the air for J-Ron. That's next. Gregory Curse. Come on, football guys. Bring our guy back. Because I don't think I believe in the Cowboys drafting a safety. And if they don't get J-Ron, we're probably looking at a Dollar General free safety. Or maybe it's Marcus May. So I'm looking at J-Ron and I'm looking at Marcus May as the 2 guys at the safety position. But I can't just ignore linebacker, right? Like linebacker needs to be a position that we continue to hit in free agency as well. We got a whole day. Stephen White said, yes, Curse. We got a whole day left, so there's a lot of dominoes that could fall. We have the morning tomorrow, so likely when I come back on here tomorrow morning, we'll hear about more news that's dropped. But right now, J-Ron is the guy that needs to fall up for the next domino. If it ain't J-Ron, somebody asked me in the super chat, which let me get to that super chat Creative Genius, appreciate you for the super chat.
Super chat.
He says, would you take Wagner over Curse as your green dot guy? I think is what you're saying. Well, wait a minute now. So if we have both of them, play with you here a little bit here. If we have both of them, yes, I probably would give it to Bobby Wagner because it's Bobby Wagner. But if you're asking me, would I take Wagner over Curse? Oh man, y'all been putting me in a lot of tough situations. It shouldn't really be anything to think about because Bobby Wagner is a Hall of Famer, right? But man, I just value Jaron Curse's his versatility and how Dan Quinn used him. And he's like 4 years younger or something like that, 3 years younger than Bobby. Put it this way, I wouldn't be mad if they decide to go with Bobby. I'm not gonna whine about it. Decide to go with J-Ron and it costs you Bobby. I ain't gonna be mad at it either. So I ain't gonna let you do that to me. All right, 845 and then 347 to end this thing. What's up, 845?
What's up, Sky?
What's going on? Who we got on the horn?
Ray.
Ray, what's up, Ray? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm great, man. How you feeling about these moves this morning?
Well, I'm feeling pretty good. You know, we got our line back. I like the signings. But what I really want is Bobby Wagner, you know, just like everybody else.
Yeah, everybody. I'm put it this way. I just want somebody outside of the organization. Retaining our guys is cool, but I want to elevate. So I'm still waiting for that down middle drop.
Yeah, facts. Me too. Jerry Jones, you know how he is. He never does that. It's just he's always bargain basement. That's all he does. Yeah, I'm just pretty much waiting.
Let's replace that with Steven. Let's replace Jerry with Steven. I think if Jerry could, Jerry would spend all the damn money in the world. But I think this is a Steven thing.
More Steven. Yeah, true. Yeah, well, I mean, I like the signings, but I just want a few more like other free agents, you know, other than just signing our own all the time.
Yeah. That's the thing I said yesterday at the end of the show, Ray, was that I don't worry about the Cowboys drafting. I don't worry about the Cowboys retaining their own. They do that very well. The two arenas that I would like to see them improve upon is free agency and the trade market, you know, because those are absolute necessary to win in this league, to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, you can also, like, the way they should do it is that you get a couple players, you sign them, and then for whatever needs you need in a draft, you draft. And the players that you sign, you don't have to use like your first 3 picks on those positions. That's how you should do it. But they always, you know, go in the draft and
they view free agency as patchwork, right? Like we're going to patch up the small holes we have. We know these aren't long-term solutions, and then we'll go in the draft and we'll draft said long-term solutions. Usually in the first round, those guys are more immediate impact type of guys. That is charging. Immediate impact type of guys. It kind of been hit and miss though over the last 5 years with the LVE, the Taco Charlton, no pick in 2019, so it was Tristan. So it's been hit and miss. But when it does hit, like a guy like Micah Parsons, you can forgive, right? Oh, whatever, we got Micah. But sometimes those things can take time to develop. Whereas if I sign 1 or 2 guys, hump guys is what I call them, or top tier talents, I don't need to wait. They can come in right now and play at that level. And that's what most teams that are winning do. They sign guys that are ready now. Whereas Dallas's plan is to patchwork free agency and then draft that position for long term. And that'll keep you around if you draft well, but I don't think it'll get you over the hump.
Yep, that's all facts. that's all right. Well, that's all I got. I just wanted to say a few things, and that was it.
Appreciate you, man.
All right, man. Thanks, bro.
I hear Chenault in the chat, man. A lot of people are saying, would you trade for Chenault? I think the reason why his name is coming up in trade talks in regards to Cowboys, I guess, right now, is because they just signed about 2 or 3 wide receivers in free agency. So, and Chenault was one of their highly drafted guys. Doesn't seem like it's working out. And I see y'all say, would you trade Collins for Chenault? I would. I mean, if you're going to get rid of La'el Collins anyway, you said, hey, seek a trade, and it's coming back that ain't nobody want to trade for Lyle in regards to draft picks, then go get a player. I'd trade him all day. I would love that move. Especially because I think the kid is still in his rookie deal, and he's got some talent. Now, will we utilize that talent? That's a different story, but I mean, all I can talk about is the actual player, not how he's going to be utilized. Stephen White said he's going to go talk to Steven. Please do so, man. I'm pretty sure that's your man, so go talk to him. See if we can get one of these guys right here, Stephen White. Besides Foye, you knock him out of there. But everybody else, man, I said this yesterday, man. A lot of people don't know that I used to be a promoter. I used to host events, weddings, parties, and things like that. I promise you, if they sign a primetime free agent, we are having a party on this channel. But I ain't hold my breath. I ain't hold my breath. All right, man. Any more news? Anything else drop here? I'm going to be looking. We got one more caller on the horn, and we're going to continue to monitor this free agency frenzy. Is this my guy, David Moore?
My guy, Young Jedi, what's good?
Always with the energy. I love it. What's up, man? How you doing?
Yeah, well, I'm two things, man. I think optimist and a pessimistic.
Okay.
You know, listen, one thing is long time, change is coming. I'm loving it. We're signing our guys. You said it earlier. You want somebody outside. Now, my pessimistic side is this. Over the last 4 or 5, maybe 6 years, Seattle, we've been linked with Russell Wilson, KJ Wright, now Bobby Earl Thomas, now Bobby Wagner.
Where you going?
We've been connected, and you know the one thing we did get from sense, we got Dan Quinn.
Right.
So my thing is, I appreciate the that we all talking about these guys, but in all reality, I don't think they're coming. That's me.
Well, let me give you, David. Let me give you the latest on Bobby Wagner per Ed Waters, so you can take this how you want. However, I do got to give him some props. He called the Demarcus Lawrence thing last Friday, but this is what Ed Waters said. My understanding is Bobby Wagner is pursuing interest in the number 1 team on his preferred list. He has the Cowboys and Dan Quinn high on the secondary list of options. So that is the latest. Take that with, do with that information as you will. But according to Ed Warder, Cowboys are on the secondary list, not on the primary list of teams to go to.
Okay. I that would even be for me equivalent with Earl Thomas. He's like, come here. You know what I mean? So, yes, guys. So the one thing is, I hope all these moves that we are making, we remix we remix everything, and then the other thing is that go sign Curse. If not, definitely make May on our high to get list, because I know the D tackle and safety, we don't cover that very much. Those are our positions where those are definitely needs. We need to get that. We don't do that. So
I think it's silly, man. In a time where the Cowboys have been kind of hit or miss, for the most part miss, as a run defensive team, you would think I'm going to prioritize a guy that can stop the run. And not on a 1-year, 32-year-old type of guy. I'm talking about a guy that can get in there and do it for years to come. So they haven't done that. And if they're going to continue to go down the 1-year hole, then go get me a guy that's a beast at it, right? A Calais Campbell, Akeem Hicks, those type of dudes, as opposed to Brent Urban technically was a beast at the run stop and stuff, but it didn't work out for Brent.
Well, hopefully we don't get plagued by injuries, and I hope that we let go Coop for a 5th round and then trade the 6th round, which makes no sense to me, but that's me.
We went over that yesterday, David, and I told everybody I got my piece out. He's no longer a Cowboy. We'll obviously touch on it more here and there, but I got my whole piece out yesterday. You got to check out that show.
Absolutely. And then, and then the last thing I'm gonna say, Sky, is this: is it possible, with being that they let go Coop because they see CD's ready to be elevated,
oh, sure.
CD's ready to pick up not much, so therefore, and then of course the stigma of having that 88 on his back, you know what comes with that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So,
yes. Immediately when he was drafted and given 88, he was ceremoniously given the number 1 wide receiver tag. It just was going to take a couple years. And the 2 years that they put into Cooper's deal and then drafting Lamb pretty much solidified that, I think. And that's what happened, right? Like, we came to terms that they were going to get rid of him. I was hoping to trade. I was hoping for more. But getting rid of Coop wasn't a shock. That was kind of put in the contract. You got Lamb. I think they are ready for Lamb to be that guy. Now, can Kellen make Lamb that guy? Because can Dak make Lamb that guy? Because a wide receiver can only do so much. He's got to be featured.
Right. Absolutely. Young John, I thank you for taking my call. It's been a long time, and I just had to, even in terms of not feeling the Coop thing, but I just had to bring the energy and bring it to you. And my man, you keep doing what you're doing. I'm tuned in, and I'll talk to you again.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, David Moore. Love the energy from David. Love the energy. All right. One more look over here on the Twitter sphere to see what's going on. I don't think too much is happening here. Nope. Nothing just yet. So here we are. Let's recap today's situation, right? We got Demarcus Lawrence contract. He signed a 3-year, $40 million deal, $30 million of it guaranteed. A+, we all agreed on that, right? Like A+ deal for Demarcus Lawrence, really, who had no guarantee money left. And for the Dallas Cowboys, they're able to keep their guy and have a team-friendly deal. A+. And then you had, I believe, Malik Hooker, right? Malik Hooker returned for a 2-year deal worth $8 million. So a very great contract from Malik Hooker. I think the potential, his ceiling has still not been hit. And you get another year under Dan Quinn. I love him as the roof guy, but he showed to me that he has some physicality down in the box if need be. Now, he did miss I think a career high 12 tackles, but I don't view Malik Hooker as a Camp Chancellor, right? But I love the fact that he was willing. I love the fact that he was quick strike type sometimes. And I just like Malik Hooker's skill set. So this is great to get Malik back. And then you had Randy Gregory, 5 years, $70 million, $28 million guaranteed. Once the details come out, I'm pretty sure this will look like a 2-year deal, 3-year deal they can get out of if they need to. I know it's not cool to always say that, but that's just how a lot of the teams operate, especially the Cowboys. So those are the 3 things that came down the wire over the last 24 hours. No outside news, which again, we knew this wasn't really going to happen early on. Steven prepared you, right? Like Steven came out and said, most of our money is going to be on bringing guys back, retaining guys. Cool. But the fact that you got all this money now, you got rid of Cooper, and if you want, you could add $11 more million. Really would like to see you go improve the team now, right? It is okay to improve the team in free agency. So I would love to see that. If not, hey, man, we just got to hit in this draft. Maybe tomorrow we'll take I did my top 5 or 5 free agent wish list. Tomorrow, maybe we'll talk about where the Cowboys still have some holes at. All right, Cowboys Nation. If that is it, we're going to head on out today. Dave says, so the sky is not falling. I don't think the sky's ever been falling. All right. The sky is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. The sky is what it is in Dallas, Cowboys Nation. All right, this was a good one. So later tonight, Mauricio Rodriguez will be on A to Z Sports Primetime. We're going to talk. I'm going to hit him up after the show and see if we can get Mo on later this week or next week. I want to kind of give Dallas a week. We know we don't really get heavily involved in free agency the first week. I'm hoping, though, something happens. Like, even if it's just a small signing, I would love to see where their thinking is moving forward. So once something happens, we'll get Mo on here, or I'll go on his show. We'll do a crossover. Also got a couple guests I'm still lining up to try to get here on the show for you guys. We had the Doc Talk last week. I'm going to try to get Jesse on horn here. And a player of the Cowboys we're still trying to work on to get on the show. Tough right now with free agency, though. All right. So with that said, D Block said, bro, I still don't trust the front office. Yeah, they got to earn my trust. Steve says, sky was cloudy for the last month. Cheer up, Sky. The sky low-key always cloudy. And then you'll get it pass by, get a little sunshine, then it gets cloudy. But we got to wait. We got to see these things happen before we just get ultimate sunshine and rainbows and Skittles. I'm not going to do that here. But today we got a little sunshine, right? We got Malik coming back. You got Gregory coming back. And you got a good deal with for D-Law. So when we play this today, it's not a negative thing. Marcus Flores, before we get out of here, he said, yo, Sky, Brock or Roman? I got to ask. Brock Lesnar. Brock. Speaking of WrestleMania, for those that don't know, I'm actually going. And y'all know yesterday we talked about Razor Ramon. Rest in peace. Night 1 is the night I'm going, and I heard Stone Cold is going to be there. I cannot wait, but make sure y'all get your bell money ready because I'm pretty sure when that glass break, I'm stunnering somebody in that aisle. I'm probably going to get kicked out. So, nah, seriously. I'm going to lose it when I hear that glass break, man. Seriously, man. Stone Cold is that dude, one of my favorites, if not favorites of all time. Shawn Michaels is my guy, but Stone Cold took the Attitude Era to another level, a whole nother level. All right, I'll be on here talking about WrestleMania all day if y'all let me. So let me get up out of here. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Tuesday. Hopefully we have more positive news tomorrow. Appreciate you guys for joining. All the super chats, all the donations, all the calls. And the chat was lit, per usual. Y'all the best, man. Love y'all. Head of the table, D-Block? Nah. Brock Lesnar. We out of here. Peace.
I want me some glory hole.